Hello, welcome to the Conspiracy Theory with myself, the GOAT David Campbell, where we talk about all the rumours and innuendo in the world of wrestling, and I give the most important opinion on the matter. That's right, my opinion. We're back with a bang, and we're coming for you, especially with my co-host today, my special guest. Like I said, my name is David Campbell. This is Eat, Sleep, Suplex, Retweet. What a lovely place it is. It's beautiful. Go and check out the main feed. We've got all the shows over there. We have Central, where we talk about the news of the day, everything that happened in the week that was in wrestling. That comes out on a Thursday. We have our feature shows, which come out on a Tuesday. The feature show this week was amazing and almost had me experience a cardiac arrest when they discussed the Mount Rushmore of NXT. Hashtag William Regal for Mount Rushmore. I can't even say it. I'm so excited. I can't wait. Check out everything else on this YouTube channel. We've got Quiz Showdown. We have everything. We have Ross's retro reviews coming back as well. So make sure you go and check that out over there. And without further ado, let me introduce you to the club. Oh, I'm loose. Here he is. It's Ross. He is here. He is a Pitbull fan. He loves Jane. How you doing, Ross?
Yes, welcome to my house. Clearly from the lag in my connection, my house is in Baghdad.
Our foreign correspondent, Ross McLeod, everybody.
Yes, bringing you stories from the front line.
I love that. Well, listen, Ross, I like to get everyone on here. This is a looser show. I can really do what I please. On this show, it's wonderful. I know it's really great. You've been part of ESSR for a long time. I'm going to put you on the spot. What has been your favourite episode of ESSR that you have appeared on?
I mean, it's trying to pick your favourite rainbow. They are all just sensational. I don't know. I think I like the rock shows. You know,
doing
a show on your favourite wrestler is always fun. So I'll go the rock shows.
Not the retro reviews that we did back in the day. No, okay, that's fine. That's fine. No, I'm just saying. I brought you round to American Joe's flat in Partick. You know, we recorded the show. We had a good time. You know what I mean? It was a great experience. But that's fine. You know, you picked the.
I'm Brew tasted funny. I don't remember much after it.
There is a statute of limitations. Anyway, we are going to talk today about my least favourite man in wrestling, Mr. Dave Meltzer. Ross said to me, he was like, let's go in. I don't want to go in on Dave. You know, let's just discuss maybe what we liked, what we do differently. I was like, fuck that. Let's talk about the fact. And I wanted to bring up one thing, because did you see this, Ross, what Gary Kernan said in the ESSR group chat earlier today?
Was this the photo of he's only awarded so many WWE matches 5 stars and he's given AEW something like 30 or something like that?
Damn right, Ross. Damn right. So we're going to discuss these stats as they come up. In 36 years since WrestleMania 1, way back in day, Dave has given WWE, not including NXT, 5 5-star matches in total. AEW has 6 5-star matches in 2 years. Ospreay has more 5-star matches in 10 years than Taker, HBK, Angle, Austin, Rock, Triple H, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, and Edge combined.
Sorry, you coughed through that there. I never quite heard you.
Anyway, what were your thoughts, Ross, when I just ran through that list there? What do you think?
Firstly, I hope you get better. You're coughing like a rabid Wolverine there. And secondly,
nice. It's very good.
It's hard because you don't want to bash the superstars of today, because some of the matches are really good, and some of it does come down to personal taste. Like some people seem to like the indie cred that AEW has, along with all the money. I think there's a bit of hypocrisy. I certainly think there's hypocrisy for what Dave Meltzer likes. Like, I would be more interested of someone like Stacey Smith, who really only watches the wrestling shows she goes to, or the big pay-per-views. I would be more interested in her 5-star matches, because I guarantee you Kez Evans would have more than Drew McIntyre.
Very good.
And yeah, it's hard to get overly emotional about it, because you're like, it's only one guy's opinion. But then again, you know, Roger Ebert is only one guy in film. You
Yeah,
know,
I like that reference. I
you
like
know
that reference.
The Chicago Sun and the Chicago Times always review movies, and they always get a lot of traction about it. They're only
Yeah,
one paper from one city.
yeah,
He is the main guy in wrestling. You know what I mean? Every other wrestling company is behind a name. You know, it's like PWI have reported or Wrestle Inc. have reported. You know, with him, he's front and center,
yeah.
and at times it does reek a bit. I might be going into a conspiracy theory here. You know, I'm on the right show for that.
Please
It does,
do.
it does reek a bit of double standards. You know, he is friends with the Young Bucks. He does prefer the more indie back to basics wrestling routes as opposed to sports entertainment. Not that that's a bad thing. That's his thing. That's his opinion. But to then post that as if it's gospel, which he has
Yes.
done at times. You know, he once turned round and said to someone arguing with him on Twitter, "How many 5-star matches does Seth Rollins have?" And someone responded, "Are you basing a wrestler on your own imaginary scale?"
Yep. Because that's what Dave Meltzer does. Because, like you said, Ross, the problem with Dave Meltzer is that he himself treats his word as gospel. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Dave Meltzer can't see the wood through the trees. Dave Meltzer will be like, "Oh, my pals, you know, my wee buddies over at AEW who give me all my interviews, who give me all my backstage scoops. You know, he wants his ice cream. He wants it covered with raspberry sauce over in WWE. Everyone knows what Dave Meltzer's all about. Everyone doesn't want to give him the time of day. It is due to bias. It's unbelievable bias that comes from the man. And it's not even Dave Meltzer. I don't blame Dave Meltzer. All right. I just blame this opinion that Dave Meltzer's the best, to paraphrase CM Punk. Like everyone, just like you
Oh, I've got
say,
my punk top on. I knew it
yes,
was smarky today. I put the smarkiest top on.
we're working ourselves into a shoot, brother. But I just can't deal with it. I honestly can't deal with the Meltzer Messiah, as people seem to proclaim him. And never is that more prominent than when we come to these awards. Grant McRobbie. I don't know if you've read the bottom banner, but it says, don't bother commenting. Your opinion doesn't matter here." And I want to remind you of that, Grant. Okay, I just want to
I,
remind you of that.
I'm literally only here because Stephen told David he's not allowed to go live by himself anymore.
Not after the naked incident, but we're going to talk about the Wrestling Observer Awards. We're going to go through them one by one, say whether we agree, whether we think it's horseshit, and what we would have done differently in that instance. Ross, we're going to start with the Lou Fres / Ric Flair Award because nothing rolls off the tongue quite like having a slash between your award names. It's also known as Wrestler of the Year. He's given it to Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley is one Wrestler of the Year. Agree or disagree?
I actually don't have too much of a problem with this one. You know, John Moxley, he started the year not only as New Japan's United States champion, he then, at one of the last shows of 2020 that could have fans in it, dethroned Chris Jericho to become the second AEW champion. Um, I like the matches he's had. I like, his more cut loose character. You know, we were crying out for this in WWE where he was getting, COVID injections, which by the way, that character was clearly ahead of its time. Into his arse.
He's a visionary.
My only criticism with John Moxley of the year, and it's not even a criticism of John Moxley, it's more the booking around him.
Yeah.
They seem to bring guys in, have him win, then the guys would flounder and take a wee while to get back to where they were when they came in. But yeah, I liked his matches with Eddie Kingston. We'll talk about that later, obviously. Liked his feud with Lance Archer. I liked his matches with Jericho on the lead up to winning the title.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed a lot of his title matches this year, and I picked him in about 4 drafts, so he worked out not too bad for me. Yeah, I don't have too much of a complaint here. I think something I'm trying to avoid is when people go, Dave Meltzer, he's clearly biased. Sometimes that opinion isn't the wrong one. You know what I
Broken
mean?
clocks are always right twice a day.
Yes, like his best male wrestler and his best female wrestler. I don't have any problem with it. It's when we get lower down the card
Yeah.
of awards, I think he's a bit too anti-WWE.
Yeah, well, I disagree with the Moxley one, and I'll say it's not a criticism against John Moxley, like you say. I just feel that there's yet to be a main event with Moxley where I felt like true excitement. Like this death match, I've went and record in Central, and I'm like, oh baby, I can't wait for that death match. That seems like something I really want to see. But for me, the feuds have fallen flat with Moxley, and the matches haven't been spectacular. Which is why I would give the Wrestler of the Year to someone. I think the trick with wrestling is to do more with less. And there's no one who's done more by wrestling less this year than Roman Reigns. I think, in terms of investment in his feuds, investment in his matches, the storytelling in his matches, no wrestler on the planet has touched him at all.
Well, I did offer some. I did try to offer some other promotions, guys, because I didn't want to go, oh, well, in AEW could have been this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
When an AEW guy won it. I think WWE side, I did put Roman. He's been sensational since his return in August.
Yeah.
But I think John Moxley, a lot of his New Japan work before the pandemic was really, really good. I think that also was taken into
keeps him
the
away.
equation. He had an excellent Texas Death match with Lance Archer. Seth Rollins, his feud with Kevin Owens, his Messiah complex, his feud with Mysterio's at the start. I've really enjoyed his character work, but he's maybe been bogged down with feuds that sometimes go a bit too long.
Yeah.
And I think you could also, in WWE, before moving on to Impact, you can make a case for Randy Orton, but a bit of stop-start booking with the WWE title might have hindered him.
Hey, nothing you can say against that.
Over in Impact, Eric Young went through a career renaissance when he just signed for the brand in July.
Yeah.
And Moose has been TNA's most consistent performer. Reviving the TNA title. But yeah, the title been given to Moxley when he was, the poster boy for the second. I'm not saying this to cause it's the second biggest promotion. It's taking ratings away from WWE's NXT. It's not bigger than WWE yet. I'm just trying to watch what I say here before I get angry comments.
Oh, get them. This is the place to try and get them.
Yeah, he was the second biggest promotion in the world's champion for over 10 months.
Yeah.
So I really don't see. I can get what you say, but I don't have too many complaints about this one.
It's not the biggest issue I have. Most outstanding wrestler. First of all, what does that even mean? When you have a Wrestler of the Year and you have a most outstanding wrestler, and he's giving that to Kenny Omega. Do you know the difference?
I think it's maybe like Wrestler of the Year, maybe more storyline driven.
Yeah.
And then Wrestler, like most outstanding, is like maybe the best in ring, or because there is a best technical one as well.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Ross, I'm going to call it horse shit. Horse shit.
I'm trying not to be a bit too like. We're 14 minutes in. We're on the second award. I'm trying not to be like, oh, don't talk pish, Dave. But
horse shit.
I don't deny Kenny Omega's a good wrestler. I just think there's better out there. I personally think there is better out there. I don't dislike his matches, but when you watch it, there's a lot of the same moves used over and over again. And he might use video game references and all that, and he might come out dressed like fucking Mega Man. But I don't see the.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. See, this was 2021's awards. See, with Kenny Omega popping up everywhere.
Maybe.
And he's been really good since he won the AEW title at the tail end of 2020.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really have a problem with that. But no, I think when you give somebody a Wrestler of the Year and then most outstanding Wrestler of the Year, like it kind of just defeats the purpose, does it not?
Totally. I agree with you. I completely agree with you. Moving on, similarly. This is a troublesome one. This is a troublesome one. Tag Team of the Year. because I dislike the Young Bucks. I think in terms of booking, there is no wrestling actor on the planet who is booked more inconsistently as a face or a heel. Oh, we're going to turn, no, we're going to drop this story. Oh, we're going to turn, we're going to drop this story. Than the Young Bucks. And it's fucking frustrating to watch. It's frustrating. And people forgive it because, oh, it's Matt and Nick and they're the best tag teams of all, and they hit super kicks, and oh, you don't understand. Fucking bollocks, right? It's bollocks. And the only problem I have with this award is I think tag team wrestling is so weak across the board that I actually don't know who I'd put in their place. You know what I
mean? I think for a WWE perspective, and even still, like they were bogged down with a really like ran out storyline with Zelina Vega's trio.
Yeah.
The Street Profits have got to be up there. I think Rollins and Murphy, maybe like not as a tag team, but you know they were a group.
Yeah.
Undisputed Era again, 2020, great year for them.
In fact, we're both wrong. I've just thought who it definitely should be, and that's Sasha Banks and Bayley. If we're talking 2020, Sasha Banks and Bayley were a much better tag team than the Young Bucks were, because at least Sasha
consistently
Bayley
consistently
booked, good matches across 3 brands, a consistent story, consistent presentation, much better promos. Did the Young Bucks ever go after Michael Cole? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, something here that, you know, we mentioned Kenny Omega and the most outstanding wrestler. FYI, probably NXT if the pandemic didn't hit, I'd probably go with Adam Cole again, because Adam Cole ran NXT in 2019 and started 2020. But yeah, I wouldn't have a problem if he turned around and went, by the way, because they were champions for over 8 months, I believe it was the first 8 months of 2020. I can't remember when they exactly lost.
It's a pretty long time.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem if he went Hangman Page and Kenny Omega as tag team, because I thought they were a really good tag team. I've seen a lot of people complaining. This is something I wouldn't mind seeing more of in tag team wrestling, where see people in stables. Like, instead of just throwing 2 people together, if people are in a stable, they already have a common goal. You know what I mean? If there's 5 people in a stable and you take 2 of them out, then yeah, they are a tag team. You know, I don't see the problem in that. So yeah, I quite like that, the fact that 2 members of the Elite went after the tag titles because they were in a bit of a rut, and I liked the storyline they had together leading to their breakup. The same with Sasha and Bayley. So if it was Sasha and Bayley, or if it was
Omega and Hangman.
Yes, I fucking forgot my own point there. I wouldn't have complained, but the Bucks, no. I mean, the Revival. I think the Revival have been exceptionally good since they went to and their brush with greatness. Their match with the Young Bucks has been really good.
Do you know what's really frustrating about the Revival, though? They're still even... That's another reason I don't like the Young Bucks, because of their booking. Like, FTR now feel a bit like... What do FTR do? They're feuding with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Like, no offense to those guys, but it's not the main event slot that we're all like, oh, that's where they should be, you know? But instead now you've got the Bucks there, and it's like, oh, we need to have the fucking Bullet Club match, guys. We need to have the Young Bucks go against the Good Brothers. You don't understand. Fuck off again.
Yeah, I like any... And I'll talk about it when we come to most overrated, because I have a certain gimmick that I think is dead and buried, and I don't want to see again, despite having a really good match. But the whole Bullet Club thing. Bullet Club's still going in Japan. Bullet Club isn't broke up. Bullet Club isn't like the Shield, where and I know there's a lot of New Japan pro wrestling guys. See if Grant McRobbie turned around and went, I want to see this, I wouldn't hold it against him, because he's clearly watched it. And he still watches, you know, like Talk Shop, and he watches AEW, he watches Impact. Sarah watches a lot of New Japan, Impact, and AEW. If they said it, I wouldn't have a problem with them. It's smarky people on the internet that watch Wrestle Kingdom once a year and have a Too Sweet t-shirt and think that, you know, all of a sudden, like, oh, WWE sucks. It's the only thing you watch. like, stop watching it then.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go in. This is an interesting one, because I think it's probably right, and we should just sort of flash by it. Is based on interviews Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, he's been really, really good. Both
Yeah,
NWA Power and AEW. No complaints about that.
nothing. No
Nah.
complaints. Promotion of the year, AEW, I can get
Um,
behind.
yeah, I don't have a problem with that either. Like, I think I'm just double checking. Yeah, it was all out when Kenny Omega and Page. It was going to annoy me the rest of the stream. So there you go. From January to September 5th. That's when they held the titles. AEW, yeah, like most of their big shows have been good. All Out was atrocious, F, minus the FTR and Omega Hangman match. But yeah, I really I've not minded AEW this year. I always find it hilarious how when NXT is doing well, though it's not considered WWE. But
Yeah,
when NXT is doing well, it's put in a different bracket. It's not WWE, but
it's
as soon
Andy
as
Murray's.
as soon as AEW came out, it's like I'm not watching WWE on a Wednesday. Like okay, right,
Best weekly show for me. That's the tough one because I think recently SmackDown's been better than Dynamite. Um,
SmackDown since Roman Reigns' return has been sensational.
yeah,
Tribal Chiefs, Tribal Chief, Bailey's women's title run,
yeah,
Bailey's feud with Sasha afterwards has been really good.
and
Raw at the start of the year,
and the SmackDown work rate division. The seemingly
yeah,
just popped out of nowhere.
yeah. Raw at the start of the year with Rollins stuff and Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre winning the Rumble and Edge coming back, Randy Orton's was really good. Raw kind of just fit. Raw does this thing where it gets really, really good.
Yeah,
When people say, and I hate this saying, Andre, I hate to admit it. Why would you hate to admit that you're enjoying wrestling? I hate to admit it, but it's really good. And Raw get
yeah,
really good, especially around about the time me and Jack
yeah,
blessed the world with our Raw report. And
yeah,
then when the Raw report went away, the wrestlers just stopped trying because they didn't think there was a point.
yeah.
What's the point if Ross and Jack aren't here to fantasy because so Raw does fall off a cliff every now and then, and
Yeah,
AEW, I think it's been good. I think NXT's been consistently good.
yeah.
But I think AEW, once they got into Daly's place and they were allowed to set amount of fans back in,
Hmm.
they sort of found their groove. And I don't have a problem with
No,
Dynamite as best weekly show.
I don't think it's perfect because I do think there's
No, no far
inconsistencies
from it.
in booking in AEW that are apparent, but I wouldn't argue with it. Match
What I
of the
will
year.
say,
Oh, sorry.
before we move on to match, what I will say is I'm very glad it's been given to a weekly show because Dave Meltzer used to do this really annoying thing where he gave it to New Japan Weekly, which was essentially New Japan Online or something like that, which was essentially New Japan's version of Bottom Line,
Fuck you,
where
Dave.
they showed you the best matches from like special events and touring events and all that, and it was like, of course, a show's going to be like if WWE win and here's the weekly show and it had Rock Hogan and Punk Cena and the North American title ladder match from
Yeah,
NXT 2018. Of course, it'd
yeah,
be fucking great.
yeah. I know. You're damn right. Preach it, brother. Preach it to the people. Um, Jack says he's not wrong. To be fair, Raw Report goes and Raw gets poor. Anyway, back to the wrestling stuff. So I think it's good coincidence. I think not. We're moving on to this best match. They've given it to Young Bucks versus Adam Page and Kenny Omega at AEW Revolution 2020. Nothing against the match, but if there was any match that I expected to Meltzer to give it to, it was one involving the Young Bucks, Adam Page,
Yeah,
and Kenny Omega. I'll tell you who I would have had said for this one because it is all objective, and the only opinion that matters is our opinion, Ross. So my opinion is gospel, just like Meltzer's. I would have given it either to Bailey versus Sasha inside Hell in a Cell because that was one of my favorite matches of the year.
Bailey, Sasha, Hell in the Cell. Page Omega
Oh. I
against
thought you were going to say Page. I was like, Page here.
Adam Page here, and he's brought Kenny Omega against when they lost the titles to FTR versus the Young Bucks at the next pay per view. I thought were really good matches. They could be in with a shout. Drew McIntyre against Randy Orton Hell in a Cell was really good.
It was all right, yeah. Wasn't the biggest fan, but
the Hell in a Cell involving Roman and Usos, really enjoyed.
Good storytelling there. Good storytelling.
Roman versus Drew, Survivor Series, I thought was a really good match.
That was a good one. Do you know what was my low-key favourite one of this year? Clash of Champions Intercontinental title match. Hardy, Styles, Zayn. I
forgot about that.
I loved that match so much, Ross. That was my favourite match to watch of the year. See, when Sammy got in the handcuffs, I was marking out, bro. I was Matt Striker marking out, bro. It was insane. So good.
I just a daft wee story about this. So my Haley doesn't watch wrestling.
Yeah.
And she watched the pre-show with me before going to bed. And Sami Zayn was obviously on the SmackDown and the Go Home show going, I'm the rightful Intercontinental Champion, I deserve the title, blah, blah, blah. And about 5 days later, when I'm watching SmackDown again, Sammy's got the title and he's screaming, and she just walked by and went, oh, he won it, that's good. See, even people that didn't watch wrestling were invested in Sammy's journey.
They knew that Michael Moore deserved that Intercontinental title.
And another one from WrestleMania, Night 2, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte.
Yeah, good match.
So I think there's more options there. Personally, wouldn't have gave it to that match, but you know,
but
I don't have a problem
to be fair,
with
if you faced Stephen Wilson 1-on-1, I'd be like, I like those guys, I might give it to them. That's essentially what they've done. I'll beat Stephen Wilson anytime, any place, anywhere.
But yeah, I think as you said, we knew the Young Bucks were going to be in it. It's a wee bit problematic that he does have this relationship with the Young Bucks and is given these like it's like have you seen The Simpsons? Who makes Steve Gutenberg? Who makes Steve Gutenberg a star? The Stonecutters. Who makes the Young Bucks a star? We do.
We do. I love it. Listen, we need to wrap
Kenny up. 7 stars. We do.
Right, we need to wrap up in a wee minute. By the way, I'll share my NXT version of the Celtic Symphony after this with you. I thought it was hilarious the other day. I was singing to myself in my house. But we're going to run through. I want you to just give me the name that you would have given it to, so you can agree with Meltzer or you don't agree with him for some of these other awards. Women's Wrestling MVP, he's given it to Bayley. Would you do the same?
Absolutely. Sensational from the afterthought of the Survivor Series 2019 match to even the start of this year to now being the crown jewel of WWE's COVID era.
Yeah.
Never a fan of ponytail and hugs Bayley. Was even less of a fan of scowl and Karen haircut Bayley. But as soon as she was allowed to show a bit of personality, was paired with Sasha, amazing, superb. Feel bad for NXT UK if that was still going. Kaylee Ray could have got it. Shirai, Charlotte, Ripley, all sensational in NXT. Asuka, despite 50-50 booking's been a highlight. I did try to offer an opinion on AEW, but much like we want Kenny Omega away from that Outstanding Wrestler award, get him away from the women's division.
Exactly. I agree. And Bayley should have won it. Another one I think she should have won was Food of the Year. They had Moxley versus Kingston. I'd have had Bayley versus Banks.
I don't mind Moxley Kingston's match of the year. Sorry, no, it wasn't match of the year. I thought it was outstanding in promos. I liked the build up to it.
Yeah.
I thought the match kind of ended a bit flat. Sasha Bayley for me was Feud of the Year.
Totally. Most improved, they've got Britt Baker.
No.
Who would you have had?
Just not Britt Baker. I honestly think she's dire.
Not the bloody dentist.
Honestly, if most improved just better character, then Bayley. Bayley from 19 to 20 is night and day.
Do you know who I'd argue? Sami Zayn for the same reason.
Sami Zayn as well. Finn Balor. Finn Balor career released on.
Low-key Candice LeRae, because I couldn't stand Candice LeRae before she went heel.
Yes, Candice LeRae has been sensational as part of the way.
Yeah, we'll say that. Most charismatic MJF, hard to argue that, he shouldn't be considered, but
I don't have a problem with that. I really like MGF.
I would have given it to Bailey still, because
No, I think Bailey's more of an arrogant tweener. I think MGF comes off just a smarmy dickhead.
Here's where it's going to get interesting. I'm going to go right to this. We'll deal with these two as a collective. Most overrated, Bray Wyatt, and he also gave the worst gimmick, I think, to The Fiend.
No and no. Goldberg beating him shouldn't have happened, but I'm sorry. No. For people that complain that long-term storytelling is not there in WWE anymore,
Yeah.
As soon as someone's beaten, they're buried. They're buried. What's gimmick? Retribution, maybe. I wasn't a fan.
When Retribution's like right there, they've given it to The Fiend, which has been a
Yeah.
great gimmick with the Alexa Bliss stuff.
I mean, wrestling dentist as well. Isaac Yakum got it years ago. On the subject of Kane, like he doesn't like spooky gimmicks. I don't think, because look at the past awards.
Winners,
Kane always gets quite a bit of stick.
Yeah.
But no, worst gimmick. Definitely not The Fiend. Not a fan of that. Most overrated, Cody Rhodes. Like
maybe.
The feud with Darby Allin, where he had to lift his hand at the end, losing to Brody Lee, only to come back and beat him like 6 weeks later.
Yeah.
And the horrendous full pyro and entrance for everything. To come out and cut a promo pisses me off.
I maybe wouldn't. I'd say overexposed. I also agree he's overrated, though. He's definitely overexposed, and it might be overrated as well.
No, Goldberg.
It's whether you rate Goldberg.
you clearly don't.
It's whether
WWE rates them, and I don't mind him coming back to smash Jinder or Barry Corbin. I've went into details on this before, but he shouldn't be coming back to win WWE titles.
I'd maybe put Jeff. No, because I like some stuff Jeff Hardy does still to this day. And maybe throw Matt in there, because I don't think Matt set the world on fire.
That was what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, the Matt Hardy thing, the broken universe. I'm sorry, I don't want to see it anymore.
It's done.
It was interesting in 2016. WWE kind of killed any interest in it. He then had the opportunity to take back narrative when he left. He's not done it.
He's fucked up.
I really enjoyed the match with Sammy Guevara. I'd enjoyed it more if it was in 2016.
Yeah. We've got two more we're going to talk about in this broadcast, and then you can give your opinions at home when I'm done. All right, and the rest of the ones that you want to discuss, peasants. He's got most underrated is Ricochet. I don't think so. No, I'll tell you why. We've had a televised Somali come on and do everything that Ricochet can do in the ring. That Somali, Reggie's got more over because he has personality. Ricochet has all the tools, but that doesn't make up a good wrestler. And I'm sorry, look at Apollo Crews. Great in the ring. He's only just found a character that works. Ricochet has been with WWE for how long? How many ideas has he went to creative with, do you think, for a new character? How has he tried to shake it up in the ring? What has he impressed you with from a performance standpoint? When have you ever had a Ricochet promo and thought, that looks amazing? When have you ever truly been invested in Ricochet as a character in WWE, even in NXT? Can he do impressive things in the ring? Yes, but so can the bloody Somali on SmackDown. I don't think he's
that is a very good point. Underrated. I'm trying to think. Maybe Shayna Baszler. Like she came in like a house on fire. She's not been booked. Apparently, Vince doesn't get it. She said on, I think it was Renee Young's podcast.
Yep.
She went out. She was told wrestle like an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
And she went out and smashed Natalia, and then got told, "No, I don't do that."
Yeah.
And she's not with WWE anymore, but she was basically used to just Asuka's friend. Kairi Sane, very, very, very underrated there.
Yeah. I'm going to agree with Shayna. Shayna was the reason I watched Takeovers. Like, genuinely, she's the reason I stayed up, because I'm like, I want to watch that Shayna Baszler match. I want to see she gets beat. I want to see how much offense they get in. I want to see that style of match, because it intrigued me. It interests me. And we haven't seen that Shayna Baszler on the main roster. I actually have liked the tag team with Nia. Because I think Nia has a lot to offer when she's not hurting people. I find Nia pretty damn funny.
Nia, this isn't a body shaming thing. This is more because she's that much bigger than the other wrestlers. I think she is naturally likely to hurt. That like it was a complaint of bigger wrestlers in the past. It was a complaint of Kevin Steen when he was in Ring of Honor. So, but I think Nia needs to lose a wee bit of weight just to be less dangerous in the ring.
I think that she works as a tag team wrestler.
Yeah, she does. She does. But there is still going to be injuries there.
She's funny. The last one we're going to talk about is one I actually think I might agree with him on. Rookie of the Year, Pat McAfee. Who would have thunk it? Not me, but I believe him here.
It's a year where there's not been many rookies to be able to come in. But yeah, I really enjoyed him. I don't even really think there is another option.
Dom maybe is the other one.
Dominic Mysterio. Yeah. I think he maybe gets class more as 2019 because he started in 2019. He did have his first match. By the way, Pat McAfee, we talked about matches of the year, men's and women's war games. Throw their names in the hat.
You're talking about language now, son. I love a war games. I want it more extreme hardcore wrestling. That's what I want. But anyway, especially in WWE, I'd love to see like a truly good hardcore match again. I wanted to ask you this live on air. You can say yes or no. That we're shooting from the hip here. Book it. It's going to go into the sort of boxing booking style after this to, make your way up to whoever holds the trophy by the end to challenge them for that trophy at some point. Got a couple of matches booked. Sarah Grieve will be making her debut against our rookie. It looks like Gary Kernahan's going to come into the fold. I wanted to put you in a number one contender match further down the line against the other man who lost in the other half of the bracket in the semi-final, the Savage known as Strack. Is that, if Strack was to sign in the dotted line, a match that you would take?
I mean, it's no one that interests me because I can't be bothered with Strack's WWE's rubbish. Nothing good since the 90s. Kenny Omega will be in 8 matches on this card. Because it'll be far too easy to win. But you know what? If you need views for YouTube, if you need someone to carry that, then I'm more than happy to do so. I mean, more than happy.
Did you get that for the promo package, Dan? Anyway, that's the end of today's episode of The Conspiracy Theory. I want to thank my guest, Ross. Good time slagging Meltzer's madness. And agree with him on some points, to be fair.
I did agree with him, and I did come on trying not to be... It did seem very AEW positive, WWE negative. I was trying not to reverse that. I hope I didn't come across that way because I did like AEW this year, and I do agree with John Moxley. But yeah, I think he's a problematic person. He views things in one promotion as in storyline, and he views things in other promotions as far too real life.
Yes, and if this podcast was coming from Tokyo, we would have had 100,000 likes from him by now. But anyway, thank you for watching The Conspiracy Theory. See you next month. Bye-bye.